Good morning, class 8 students. Today, we are going to see a chapter of history from trade to territory, chapter 2. In this history section, we are studying only important chapters. All the chapters are not necessary in your coming classes. So, we are going to focus only on important chapters. And politics, chapter 1 to 6, you have seen, that is enough. And remaining chapters we can avoid. And history, some of the chapters let us see. First of all, let us study from trade to territory, chapter 2. So, in this section, in this chapter, we are studying about the emergence of European powers into the Indian soil. The coming of European powers to the Indian soil. After the arrival of European powers, their fight we will see in this chapter, and their fight with the local rulers of India, their supremacy over Indian soil, finally British domination also we can see in this chapter. We know that actually after the death of the last powerful Mughal ruler Aurangzeb in 1707, the coming rulers, all the other rulers were very weak rulers. Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal rulers. He died in 1707. After his death, all the other Mughal rulers were very weak and they were pleasure-seeking rulers. And so, they were fighting each other for getting power. Succession. They were fighting each other for getting power of the Mughal dynasty. So, Mughal dynasty declined. When Mughal dynasty declined or after death of Aurangzeb, provincial governors tried to capture their autonomous power. They tried to declare themselves as the kings in their own provinces. And finally, by the second half of the 18th century, British rulers or British officials also came to Indian soil. Let us see here the first topic. East India Company comes east. East India Company comes east. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth, the English Queen, granted a charter to East India Company, granting or giving permission to trade with Eastern nations. Queen Elizabeth I, English Queen, granted a charter or an order to East India Company to trade with Eastern countries. As per this charter, no other English company would be able to do trade with Eastern countries, only English East India Company. Before East India Company, Mercantile Company was earning enormous profit by doing trade with Eastern countries. But even if it is so, this charter could not prevent other European companies from doing trade with Eastern countries. And so, first of all, Portuguese companies came to Asian countries, Eastern countries. From Portuguese, Vasco da Gama discovered a sea route to India for the first time, to Asia and to India for the first time in 1498. After the discovery of this sea route, many European companies came one by one. Portuguese companies came and established their companies and settlements in Eastern countries. After Portuguese, then Dutch companies came. Then after Dutch, French companies, and finally English companies also came to Indian soil and other Asian soil through this sea route. All these European power companies, they were rivals. They were not cooperative because all these companies had similar aim. Their aim was to earn maximum profit by collecting raw materials from these countries with cheap rate. And they needed to sell these raw materials in their European countries with maximum price. So their main aim was to collect pepper, cloves, cinnamon and cardamom, such kinds of imported spices from Asian soil. And for purchasing these products, all these companies want to purchase more and more. They need to earn more and more. So they fought each other. They tried to destroy their enemies. And finally, they fought with local rulers also. They not only fought each other, they fought with local rulers for getting permission or concession to purchase raw materials from Asian countries or that means Eastern countries. So they that means they interfered in the political matters and trade matters of these Asian countries. And now let us see here, East India Company begins trade in Bengal. English East India Company established their first factory on the banks of River Hooghly in 1651. The company's traders were known as factors. In 1696, company established or company built a fort around its settlement. And just 2 years later, the company officials tried to bribe Mughal officials for getting Diwani right or for getting more right over Kalikata or present day Calcutta. Zamindari right, for getting Zamindari right. And the company even compelled Aurangzeb to issue a royal order called Farman for getting an opportunity to accept or escape from paying taxes to Mughal dynasty, Mughal kingdom. A royal order. Aurangzeb issued a royal order. Company compelled Aurangzeb to issue the royal order. And now let us see here, trade led to battle. How the trade of English East India Company led to battles. After the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, we have already seen that the provincial rulers or provincial governors, they become powerful. So in Bengal, Nawabs were provincial rulers. These Nawabs, after the death of Aurangzeb, Nawabs were very powerful. They were Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan, and Sirajuddaulah. These were three very eminent rulers, very brave rulers, and they were not at all cooperative with the English company. They were not at all ready to grant concession to the English company. Aurangzeb granted and other officials granted. But here, these three officials, these three Nawabs were not willing to give any kind of concession to British East India Company, English East India Company. So the company officials discussed with these Nawabs. They were not willing to cooperate. Many negotiations arranged. That means peaceful discussions were arranged, but everything collapsed. Finally, English East India Company decided to fight against the Nawab Sirajuddaulah. This conflict led to the outbreak of Battle of Plassey of 1757. We have seen that after the death of Aurangzeb, Murshid Quli Khan was the Nawab of Bengal. After the death of Murshid Quli Khan, next Alivardi Khan came in power. After the death of Alivardi Khan, then Sirajuddaulah became Nawab of Bengal. So Sirajuddaulah fought with English in Battle of Plassey, which was broke out in 1757. Now let us see the topics: Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, and Diwani right. First of all, let us see the topic Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey was fought in the year 1757 between Sirajuddaulah and English company. We know after the death of Alivardi Khan in 1756, Sirajuddaulah was the next Nawab of Bengal. He was a very powerful ruler. He was very cunning, sharp-minded, and very aggressive. He was not at all willing to cooperate with the English company. English company made so many demands to get more concessions, grants, privileges. Company tried to fortify their settlements. Company tried to expand their army. Company tried to interfere in the internal matters of Bengal. All these infuriated Nawab of Bengal, Sirajuddaulah. He asked the company to stop all these activities, but the company was continuing these all activities. Finally, Sirajuddaulah marched towards Ghazi Bazaar with 30,000 soldiers and disarmed all Englishmen, captured the region and blockaded English ships. After the victory over Ghazi Bazaar, Sirajuddaulah moved to Calcutta with his army to control over there. By hearing the news, the English officials, company officials of Madras, sent forces from Madras under the commandship of Robert Clive. Many peaceful discussions were arranged between Robert Clive and Sirajuddaulah, but all these peaceful discussions were failed. Finally, Robert Clive declared a battle against Sirajuddaulah in the battlefield of Plassey, which was fought in 1757. But in this battle, it was a very fierce battle, and in this battle, Sirajuddaulah lost and he was assassinated. It was only because of Mir Jafar, like one of the commands of Sirajuddaula. Last day or last night, just one day before the Battle of Plassey, Robert Clive met Mir Jafar and promised him Nawabship of Bengal if he cooperated with the English company and Robert Clive. After killing Sirajuddaula, the company would appoint him as the Nawab of Bengal. By believing the words of company and Robert Clive, Mir Jafar cheated Sirajuddaula and company could easily defeat Sirajuddaula and kill him. After the death of Aurangzeb, or after killing Sirajuddaula, company appointed Mir Jafar as the Nawab of Bengal. And in the initial period, Mir Jafar cooperated with the company, but later he criticized or challenged the power of the company. When he was not willing to cooperate with the company removed him from power and appointed Mir Qasim as the Nawab of Bengal. But Mir Qasim was also not a cooperative ruler towards the company. And so, company once again removed Mir Qasim and once again appointed Mir Jafar as their puppet ruler. So, when Mir Qasim lost power, he criticized or challenged the power of the company, and one more battle broke out, that was the Battle of Buxar in 1764. In this battle, Mir Qasim, Shah Alam, the Mughal ruler, and their armies joined together and fought against the company. But in this battle also the company was victorious. After the battle, Mir Qasim or the Nawab of Bengal wanted to provide 5 lakh every month to the company as compensation. And moreover, company made many more demands. Even Robert Clive declared that we should rule ourselves instead of depending Indian Nawabs or rulers for getting concessions, money and other economic benefits. We should rule ourselves, we should control the territories, we should utilize all resources. And finally, the company compelled Shah Alam, the Mughal ruler, to issue a Diwani right to the company. And in 1765, Shah Alam, the Mughal ruler, gave Diwani right to the company. As per this Diwani right, English company was able to utilize all the resources of Bengal directly without the permission of Nawabs, Bengal Nawabs. This helped the company to utilize the enormous wealth of Bengal and to solve their economic problems in India. Now, let us see the topics. Company officials became Nawabs. Company rule expands, role of residence, subsidiary alliance, Tipu Sultan, and for Anglo-Mysore wars. First of all, let us see here, company officials become Nawabs. English company officials who want to live like Indian Nawabs were called Nawabs. Many English officials tried to get land and other concessions from Nawabs. They want to lead luxurious living style like Indian Nawabs. Such people were called Nawabs. So after the failure of Battle of Plassey, Nawabs of Bengal wanted to give land and other economic benefits and so many privileges to the English officials. Many English officials wanted to live, they want to go back to England and then wanted to live like Indian Nawabs. Such people were called Nawabs. Many officials earned enormous wealth from India. Robert Clive also earned enormous wealth through different ways, corruption and criminal activities. Finally, he was questioned by English Parliament and he committed suicide. So Nawabs means the English officials who wanted to live like Indian Nawabs by getting richness from India, wealth from India. Such people were called Nawabs. Now let's see here, company rule expands. In order to expand English territory, English company tried to capture territories. Without knowing a territory deeply, company never arranged a direct military attack. They appointed residents. Residents means agents of the company to work as a bridge between company and Indian kings. These residents were Indian people. They communicated between English company officials and the Indian kings. Richard Wellesley, the Governor General of India, who introduced a policy. That policy is called subsidiary alliance. As per the subsidiary alliance policy, Indian kings had no right to maintain their own army. The English army would protect the kingdoms of Indian kings. But for giving protection, the kings wanted to offer a handsome amount to the subsidiary forces or subsidiary army. So as per the subsidiary alliance, Indian kings had no right to maintain their own army to protect their kingdoms. The company army would give protection to the Indian kings or their kingdoms. And for that, the kings wanted to provide handsome amount to the company or company's army. Many kings reacted against this policy of subsidiary alliance. Now let's say about Tipu Sultan. He was the ruler of Mysore. His father was also a great ruler in Mysore. He was Hyder Ali. So Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, both of them were not at all ready to cooperate with the English company. They never allowed English company to establish the supremacy over South India. They created a great challenge to the English company. And so, in order to control our South India, English company wanted to fight with Tipu Sultan and Hyder Ali. So, English company and Tipu Sultan, they fought 4 Anglo-Maratha wars. These 4 wars were in 61st Anglo-Maratha War. It was in 1675 and it lasted till 1769. And second Anglo-Mysore War was fought in 1780 and it lasted till 1784. Third Anglo-Mysore War was fought in 1790 and till 92. And the last Anglo-Mysore War was in 1799. In this war, when English company was trying to capture Seringapatanam, that means the capital of Tipu Sultan. He was trying to protect the capital, but unfortunately he was not able to control or protect his own capital. While trying to protect his capital, he was killed by the English army. So in 1799, Tipu Sultan was killed by the English army. Now let us see the topics. War with the Marathas, kingdoms. For kingdoms of Marathas and all. Let us see here mainly 2 topics: war with the Marathas and claim of paramountcy. Let us see first of all war with the Marathas. After the third battle of Panipat, which was fought in 1761 between Maratha rulers and an Afghan ruler, Ahmad Shah Abdali. In this battle, in the third battle of Panipat, Marathas totally were shattered. Ahmad Shah Abdali destroyed Maratha power like anything. After this battle, Marathas were divided into Maratha Empire divided into 4 kingdoms. These 4 kingdoms were Holkar, Sindhya, Gaikwad and Bhonsle. And all these 4 joined as a union, and this union can be called as a confederacy. This confederacy was led by Peshwa, a military ruler. This Peshwa ruler was based at Pune. Peshwa was the military head of all these 4 Maratha kingdoms. Peshwa. And when these 4 kingdoms established, once again Marathas were emerging as powerful rulers. British company tried to destroy Maratha power, and so once Marathas and English Anglo-Maratha wars were fought. There were 3 main Anglo-Maratha wars. These 3 wars were fought in the years. First Anglo-Maratha war was fought in 1775 and it lasted till 1782. And second Anglo-Maratha war was fought in 1803 and it lasted till 1805. And third Anglo-Maratha war was fought in 1817 and it lasted till 1818. So by these all 3 Anglo-Maratha wars, English company could destroy Maratha powers and they could establish their supremacy over central India. Now let's see claim of paramountcy. In this policy, it was a particular policy introduced by Lord Hastings. As per this policy, English company would be able to annex or capture any Indian kingdom at any time. As company declared that this company was more powerful than its authority and power was absolute, or paramount, supreme. Paramount means supreme. Its company's power and authority was supreme than any Indian kingdoms, and so the company would be able to annex or capture any Indian kingdom at any time. But this policy was challenged by one very valiant, brave ruler of South India, Rani Channamma of Kittur, of Karnataka, present-day Karnataka state. She fought bravely against the company, even though she was arrested and finally she died in jail, but she fought bravely against the company. After the death of Rani Channamma, Rayanna continued to fight against the policy of paramountcy in Kittur. Now, let us see the topics: Doctrine of Labs, setting up of new administration, and company army. First of all, let's see the Doctrine of Labs. This policy was introduced by the Governor General Lord Dalhousie. As per this policy of Doctrine of Labs, in any Indian kingdom, if there is no real son for the king as successor, the English company would be able to annex or capture such a kingdom. The Indian kings who did not have real sons as successors of the kings, such kingdoms would be annexed by the English company. That is the policy of Doctrine of Labs. As per this policy, English company captured or annexed Satara in 1848, Sambalpur in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Nagpur in 1853, and Jhansi in 1854. Finally, the company annexed Awadh also in 1856 by claiming that in Awadh the ruler was not ruling perfectly and the people were suffering a lot of problems under the ruler. And so the company, it is the responsibility of the company to save the people from the misgovernment of the ruler of Awadh. By stating this, the company captured Awadh and joined to the territory of the company in 1856. So, Satara company annexed in 1848, Sambalpur in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Nagpur in 1853, Jhansi in 1854, and finally Awadh in 1856 through the policy of Doctrine of Labs. This policy was introduced by Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General of English Company in India. Now let's see a setting up of new administration. So when Lord Warren Hastings was the Governor General of India, that means from 1773 to 1785, he was the Governor General of India. When he was the Governor General of India, he divided the Indian cities into 3 presidency cities. These presidency cities were Bengal, Bombay, and Madras. Moreover, every district he introduced 2 courts in every district. One is Faujidari Adalat and also Diwani Adalat. Diwani Adalat was the civil court, Faujidari Adalat was the criminal court. So civil court was head by the district collectors, and that means the criminal courts were under the control of Quasi and Mufti, but under the supervision of the collectors. Indian Hindu Pandits and Muslim Maulavis, Muslim scholars and Indian Hindu scholars, they that means reinterpreted the Indian laws, local laws, to the English collectors for doing better administration. Maulavis, that is Islam scholars and Hindu scholars, that means translated Indian local laws in English language for the business of the administration. And now let's see here, company army. So Mughal rulers were in Mughal army, mainly 2 forces were there, cavalry and infantry. That means soldiers on horseback and foot soldiers. They were excellent in archery and sword fighting. But English army changed a lot. English army recruited, English company recruited Indian people from villages into English army. They were known as sepoys. They were given different types of training. That means drill, disciplined, and so lots of kinds of training practices, European style of training practices were given to Indian soldiers who worked in the English army. Such people were called sepoys. This created some problems because Indian people who were the soldiers in English army wanted to that means avoid their religious practices. That means many of the religious practices they were not able to practice perfectly. This created a feeling against the body, that means a dislike feeling in their minds against English army, but they could not do anything against the company. Only these portions, this is the altogether portions of this chapter. All of you should read this chapter very thoroughly. We have gone through the main topics, but you have to read thoroughly all the points, all the sections very thoroughly, because questions will come from all the sections. Thank you.